Hey everybody, it's Lisa at the Silhouette Beginners Cameo Hangout page. We did part 1 on tracing, and now I'm going to show you the editing video. I'm going to do the same designs that I used in our tracing video, so you can kind of get an idea of how to edit some points. This can get a little daunting for some people and a little overwhelming. People, when they see editing points, it scares the crap out of them, but it's actually pretty simple. I just go in and delete a bunch of points. Or if you get a design that's real hazy or fuzzy and has a lot of stuff in there, maybe you need to clean up. We always call it like a cleanup. This is the way you would do that as well. So I think what we're going to start with is, let's start basic. We're going to start with our little black dress. So let me zoom in here. So this is our black dress. Now, the easiest way to get to editing the points is you just simply double click on your design. See how this all lights up around here with all these little dots everywhere? Those are the points. Okay, let me move this around here. And this is what you would go in to do if you wanted to clean things up, maybe change the design a little bit. Maybe you don't like the way it looks. So like maybe for this one, maybe I want to make her a little bit less busty. So the first thing you're going to do is click on one of the points, and then your point editing window shows up. You can simply start deleting points. See how that works? We can give her more like a V body shape. Okay. Then we're going to come over to this side and do the same thing, delete our points. Come down a little bit more, delete the points. Okay. So when I zoom out, now you see I've taken the curvature out of the dress. So you can take one simple design and change it around. So how do you get back to editing your points? You can double click, you can left click, then right click, and go to edit points. There's several ways to get to it. Once you click on it, it brings up your editing points window over here on the right hand side of the screen. None of these will be lit up until you actually click on a point. Okay? Now, I'm going to go back up here to the top where we edited, made her less curvy. So what you can do here, I zoomed in too much there. This point here right now is actually flat. It makes a flat line, so make flat. Okay? But it's already that way. For me, I want to do this line, and how you can tell which one it's selected. So if I click down here, these are the 2 points that I would be editing right now. I want to edit this section here. So you see how the red line lights up? So it's from point A to point B. If I want to make it a curve, do you see how that changed? You take this little, basically it's like a lever, in and out. Maybe I want to make her really busty again. I want to go over to the other side, double click. See, I don't want to do this one. You see how the red line is up here? Go here. Click Make Curve. Find my lever. See, it's kind of hidden. But see, it's not going to do it in the spot that I want. So I can actually bring this up and smooth it out where I want. She's not perfect, so what you do is you just go in and play. This I actually need to curve in a little bit, so go there and make it a curve. This is your lever to play with again. Now, when I click off of that, see how it's getting better? So now I can take this little point, and I don't want to do my lever anymore. I actually want to move my point down, which is the white part. And I can move this up a little bit because I want my waist to look even, right? And move my lever out, and that's how you would give her curves back. So start with something basic like this to help with editing your points. Another easy way to learn is to click on one of your toolbars over here on the left, and you can select like a circle or draw an ellipse and double click on it. So now you just have a few points. You can curve it around, bring it in. I always tell people to try and make it look like Pac-Man. So right now it doesn't because these are curved. So I want to make it flat. So the red line will become a flat piece. See how that works? I'm going to come over to this one, make it flat. This I'm going to have to do a couple times because there's more points in there, or I can highlight one of them and delete that point. So now, make it flat. Go here, see how that part is selected? Make it flat. And then I'm going to make Pac-Man look better. So I can take this out more. Bring this section in. I don't really need that point there, so I can delete that out. Then I can just get out of the editing point, select it, and take my little green dot and circle it around. Okay. That's how you do that. If you need to add another section to it, double click in there. It gives you another point to work with. See how that works? And now, if I click on it, rotate it around, it kind of looks like a little pop-up tent. So practice using like your squares, like that. And bring that down, up, over, or better yet, you could use this red line, you can make a curve. Just like that. I can go back and make it flat. Okay. Smoothing it out just means it's going to make it a smoother piece. If you want to make a corner, that's what this button is for, or you can break the path. Now, when you break the path, this means that this will no longer fill in until you fix that. Okay. Those two dots have to touch. See how that worked? I actually have two extensions there. Let's see if I can grab a hold of it again. See, they're actually disconnected. So if you ever are working on a piece and you can't get it to fill in, and you see this red dot, it means this piece has to connect. And now you can fill it in again. Okay? All right, so that's basic stuff. I'm going to show you how to do something more complicated now. Okay, it's going to be her. Get all the stuff out of the way. All right, I zoom in on her a little bit. You can see that she's busy. So you see all these little pieces that are left hanging around? When you go to cut this, you're going to have to weed all these little sections. If you don't want to do that, okay, I'm going to show you at this point how you can release your compound path and delete those and edit your points. So left click, right click, release the compound path. Now, what happened? You cannot see any of those dots anymore. Let me show you a trick that I use to be able to see these kind of things when I'm editing points. I'm going to go back, and a lot of times if you have a big file like this, it may take a few minutes for it to release the compound path because there's so much detail in it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on her. I'm going to go to my line button. I'm going to change my line color to white. If you had something that was white, you want to change your line color to a darker color and vice versa. Okay, does that make sense? So let's make mine white. Now, I'm going to come out of this now and I'm going to left click to select her. See how she's selected? Right click, release the compound path. Now when I click off of her, do you see the differences? I can see all those bits and pieces I need to get rid of. Okay, typically what I do, it's really easy. You just click on the dot, hit the delete button. You can do more than one at a time, but like if I were to select a bunch of these, I would end up messing it up because I would select the big design behind it. So basically that's how you go in and do the cleanup. So if you do trace a file and you have all that fuzziness or unclearness, just go in and you just delete. See, I deleted the wrong thing. Undo, don't panic. Delete button. So just select the ones you want to delete and delete them all out. See, I messed that up. That's what the undo button is for. And you can see if you're doing a big detailed file that this could take you a while. So sometimes like if you get someone to trace a file for you, you think, oh, that's pretty simple. Just remember that they may have to go in and do this, or they'll tell you that there needs to be cleanup done. This is what they're talking about. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what I did. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of her again. And this is what you're going to have to do to put her back together, because right now you can't cut her. So you highlight everything. You see all my little squares? I'm going to right click again and make a compound path. Now these areas are cleaned up. See how that is? Now, if I wanted these areas to be smooth, double click. See how I get all my editing points? Here's my editing points window. I usually zoom in quite a bit so I can see if it'll let me today. Oh, it's still thinking it's slow. A lot of times when you have a lot of detail like this, your software can be a little slow. So if I want to get rid of this, I simply click on it. Once I click on the point that I want, then this area will light up to delete that point. Okay. Hold on, mine's still thinking. It's behind because I got too carried away with it. Let's see if it'll play catch up. It's still thinking. It doesn't like me. But any of these points you see, when you click on them, you'll be able to delete them. And you can make it smooth that way versus having all this jagged stuff in here. So if I click on my point, see, I have a very detailed picture of this pretty girl. That's why it's acting this way. So I have selected this point here. Now I can delete this point. Maybe. It still doesn't like me. Okay. So double click to get your editing point. Click on the point you want to delete. Boy, she's slow today, isn't she? And then you hit delete. And then you just keep hitting the delete button until you get the effect that you're looking for. Like I need to delete this one because it flips, so I need to click on that and hit delete again. So basically, going through and doing your cleanup is using the delete button and editing your points. So I'm going to go over here and hit my delete button because that lights up the area in red that you want to get rid of. So see this red line? I'm going to get rid of it, hitting delete. I can hit delete again. If I want to smooth this all out, that's how you would do that. So if I zoom back out and say I come over here and click on a point, because I want this to be an oval. I don't necessarily, because it's a braid in her hair. I'm just going to keep hitting the delete button. Then I can come down here, click another one, and delete this out. Now, if you were using, you can do more than one point at a time, but with this, I can't do it on this section. If I click on it, try and select several, then I move the whole design around. But for this area here, I can left click and come around and highlight all of that. So hit your shift button and highlight if it's going to let me today. It's been really slow today. So it's not going to let me do it right now, but ordinarily you could hit like your shift button and select 2 or 3 dots to get rid of, or editing points. So you can see how we've cleaned this up. We've cleaned this up. So you would go in at this point, release your compound path, and start deleting these sections. So left click and then right click, release your compound path. And then I just simply start clicking on those little dots. See how I keep moving? I just hit my undo button. But over here, I could see how I can select several pieces and hit delete at one time. Okay? So this is what happens when you trace a file, or if you're going to trace like a picture of your family member or something like that, and there's a lot of stuff in the background, it'll be a lot of cleanup. But it's fairly simple to do. Don't get overwhelmed with it. Basically, it's just deleting a bunch of points. Deleting things you don't need in there. All these dots. I don't need all these dots. This is just pieces of her hair. And if you look at her actual picture, if I can find her, it's all this stuff in here. So now I'm going to select her all again. So left click to select everything. Right click and make your compound path. You can also go up here and these do the same thing. Select all. You can make your compound path up here. You can actually right click and make your compound path. It's all entirely up to you. Okay, it's all a preference. So you're going to be able to see that her lines are white, so I can go back and make them all blue again. Go back and do lines blue. So I'm cleaning all this up, and it's going to make it easier for you to cut. That's the whole goal, to make it easier for you to cut. Alrighty? So that's basically your basic editing on how to do complicated designs versus easy designs. Start with your basic black dress, or do some circles or squares or something like that to get comfortable. Even if I were to do my Little Mermaid and I didn't want this stuff in here, I could double click. See all those points? Scary looking, right? I always zoom into the section that I want. So like I can click on this point here and just hit delete. That's how you would get rid of the whole thing, or click on it and delete it. Okay? Like I don't want this inside her tail anymore, so I'm just going to hit delete and delete all those sections. See how that works? And everybody has their own way of doing it. Someone may do it differently than I do, but that's the way that I've always done it. Okay? I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but you can do it on fonts as well. So let's find a font. So I'm going to make this a big font. Let's get all this stuff out of the way here. So on your fonts, so you're going to left click to select it, right click, you're going to ungroup it, double click on any of those, and that's how you can go and manipulate these fonts. So maybe I don't like this part. Maybe I want to make it smaller. Or my S, I want to bring it down a little bit more. Like so, right? I want to make my I a little fatter. And that's how you would do this. You can edit points on fonts too. Now, once you click ungroup, you no longer know what this font is. So always make yourself a note in your design in this space here of what that font is before you go and ungroup it, because you cannot figure it out again. So if I do my undo button, get rid of all my work, get rid of my ungrouping, now I can see that I'm actually on Arial Bold. So sometimes I'll just make a copy of it, and then I'll go in and do my ungrouping and all that kind of stuff. But you can also then at that point manipulate your letters to do things like that. Okay, so that's basic editing your points. You can do it with design files that you bring in. You can do it with any of the fonts that you have in here. Learn how to trace something, clean up the points, edit your points, make it what you need. If you guys have any questions at all, you can get a hold of me or Kylan to help you guys out. And the ladies in the group, or the people in our group, are absolutely awesome. They help each other all the time. If you have a question that you don't feel is getting answered, just yell. You can message me or Kylan, or whatever it takes to try and get some help. We'll help you just as quick as we can. You guys have a nice night. We're going to work on some more videos for you guys. We're going to try and get things posted. We're actually going to be opening up our YouTube page here in the next few hours tonight, actually. And you guys will be able to go to YouTube and find our videos from there. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.